Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the stack of sources you gave us and really try to extract the critical nuggets of knowledge. Today, we're tackling one of those magnificent but also kind of frustrating paradoxes of modern life. The overwhelming cacophony of our digital age and this resulting trend where people are now willingly paying a premium for silence, for boredom, for the right to just disconnect.
Yeah, it's a fascinating inversion.
The scale of this digital saturation is, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around it, isn't it?
It really is.
The data we looked at shows UK adults spend an average of 5 hours a day looking at screens. 5 hours.
And that's just the average.
And globally, people are checking their phones. What was it? Approximately 58 times a day.
58 times. Think about that. That's 58 intentional breaks in your focus. 58 little windows for distraction or anxiety or just burnout every single day.
That intense fragmentation. I think that's why this deep dive feels so timely.
I agree. Our mission today is to really investigate a rigorous systematic review we found. It links the practice of digital detox, or, DD, with this huge, ambitious goal.
Which is?
Achieving eudaimonic well-being. And that's a concept that goes way beyond just feeling a little happier or less stressed.
Okay, so let's get our terms straight right at the top. Digital detox. It isn't just, turn your phone off when the battery dies. What does the research actually define it as?
Right. It's defined as a deliberate, voluntary period of abstinence from devices and online platforms.
The key is the intentionality then.
The intentionality, exactly. It's not just a break, it's an act of reevaluation. It's meant to create space for reflection and, critically, to sort of recalibrate your relationship with technology.
So you can prioritize genuine human connection.
That's the goal. And if DD is the process, eudaimonic well-being, EW, is the outcome we're looking at.
And that's the big one.
It is. It's a philosophical approach really rooted in Aristotle's definition of human flourishing. It asks the big question, how do I live a good life?
Not just a happy life, but a good one.
A purposeful, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling life. EW is achieved by, cultivating virtues, pursuing things that align with your true self, and realizing your maximum potential. It's about being fully alive.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're aiming for profound self-realization.
Yeah.
Just by putting down the phone.
That sounds simple, but
before we get to that cure, we have to really diagnose the disease. What is happening to our brains, to our bodies, when we live in the state of constant fragmented connection? The sources, they talk about phone fatigue, that feeling of chronic exhaustion, the low-grade anxiety, that burnout from just always being on call.
Yeah.
But for me, the most damaging modern compulsion, and it's something we all do, is doom scrolling.
It's the perfect term for it, that compulsive consumption of upsetting news.
War, climate change, political fighting.
Right. It triggers genuine stress, fear, and anxiety. It's a biological trigger, but we willingly initiate it, often right before we try to sleep.
And the cognitive toll of that constant stream is it's enormous.
We know that information overload doesn't just make us irritable. It actively strains our executive functions. It demonstrably leads to poor decision-making and, across the board, shorter attention spans.
I found this one research finding particularly stunning. It suggests that the mere presence of a smartphone, even if you're not using it, it's just face down on the table, it reduces your available cognitive capacity.
That's the brain drain effect. Your mind has to expend energy to not interact with that device, just knowing the potential reward or distraction it holds.
So that background processing power is just gone.
It's gone. It's like having a dozen apps running silently in the background, slowing down whatever you're actually trying to do.
And let's be clear, this is not an accident. This addictive loop is baked into the technology itself.
Absolutely. The systems are designed to be compulsive. They use these powerful, unpredictable reinforcement schedules.
The variable reward system.
Exactly. Which triggers those quick dopamine hits every time you check, every time you refresh, every time you see a notification. That feedback loop is what makes it all feel so necessary, even when it's actively draining you.
And it extends directly to physical health.
Oh, massively. Sleep disruption is a huge one. And it's beyond just the obvious blue light interference, which, suppresses melatonin and messes with our circadian rhythm.
So what's the real culprit?
It's the emotional weight of it all. Frequent social media use, especially when you have a high emotional attachment to it, is significantly linked to increased sleep disturbance and insomnia. You literally can't switch your brain off because you just spent an hour consumed by digital stress.
It sounds like we're sacrificing our fundamental ability to process and recharge for what? Instant low-value information.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me. We've established the severe cost of all this connectivity, but how does simply avoiding that cost translate into the highest form of human flourishing? How do psychologists bridge that gap between putting the phone down and that deep Aristotelian eudaimonia?
It's a great question. And we can synthesize that connection through three really powerful theoretical frameworks that explain the mechanism of recovery and growth that DDD provides.
Okay.
The first one is self-determination theory, or SDT.
SDT, right.
And SDT states that our psychological welfare, it really hinges on satisfying three basic human needs. Autonomy, which is feeling in control.
Okay.
Competence, so feeling effective, and relatedness, feeling connected to others.
Wait a second. If the internet is supposed to connect us, how does a digital detox help with relatedness or autonomy?
Because it shifts the experience from compulsion to deliberation.
Huh.
When you compulsively check a device because of a ding or a notification, you're forfeiting your autonomy. The platform is controlling you.
I see.
DD promotes deliberate technology use. You choose the time, the platform, the purpose. Reclaiming that control is a massive boost to autonomy. And for relatedness, it helps you prioritize high-quality, face-to-face interactions over shallow digital ones.
That makes perfect sense. I feel competent when I choose how I use my tools, not when my tools choose me.
Precisely. Now, the second framework is the attention restoration theory, or ART. RT.
Right.
Our brains basically have two modes of attention. There's directed attention, which is demanding, like focusing hard on a screen or a spreadsheet. And then there's involuntary attention, which is effortless, like watching a cloud drift by.
And directed attention is what gets tired.
It fatigues us. So screens essentially deplete that battery.
So where does the detox come in?
RT posits that exposure to natural environments replenishes those drained cognitive resources. That's why so many DD practices incorporate time outdoors in what's called soft fascination.
Like watching a stream or looking at trees, that forest bathing thing, Shinrin-yoku.
Exactly that. By stepping away from the cognitive demands of the screen, you allow your brain to rest and rebuild its capacity.
So it's not just about stopping the drain, it's about actively providing the right fuel for a cognitive recharge.
That's it. And finally, we have the broaden and build theory.
Huh?
This theory suggests that positive emotions like joy, contentment, interest don't just feel good in the moment. They actually expand an individual's thought-action repertoire. They help us develop long-lasting psychological resources.
Like resilience and fulfillment.
Exactly.
But how does disconnection help me build resilience? It sounds a little counterintuitive, like I'm just avoiding difficulty.
By minimizing the digital distractions, and especially that constant influx of negative stuff, DD creates space for activities that generate genuine positive emotions.
Offline hobbies, reading, talking to people.
Yes. And by engaging in those things, you are literally cultivating and storing psychological resources. It makes you more robust and resilient against future stress, which is the very essence of that long-term flourishing that EW describes.
That's a powerful synthesis. Okay, so we've established these deep psychological mechanisms. Now let's see if the hard data actually backs it all up. What happens when people actually step away? On the cognitive side, the advantages seem to be almost immediate. And we're talking about more than just, feeling clearer.
Right.
The research shows that even short periods of detachment can improve key functions like working memory, information processing speed, and just your overall capacity to concentrate.
The brain power is coming back online.
Right. Which naturally leads to practical advantages like better problem solving and enhanced creativity.
And the emotional data is highly compelling because, well, we can actually measure the change. We saw a specific study that found that limiting social media to just 30 minutes per day
Just 30 minutes.
resulted in notable decreases in feelings of loneliness and despair. That's a concrete outcome from a pretty manageable shift.
It's a huge return on investment.
And think about the psychological relief. DD lets you disconnect from the constant, often negative flow of information, and this is critical, from the constant pressure of social comparison.
Yeah, that comparison trap is brutal.
So the decrease in anxiety and enhancement in mood, those are foundational. And post-detox, studies note improvements across the board. Better sleep, more physical activity, higher reported levels of mindfulness.
But isn't there a risk here? That by stepping away, I just become less informed, which in turn actually increases my anxiety about the real world.
That's the core tension. But the research suggests DD helps you optimize, not eliminate. The goal isn't ignorance, it's about intentionality. When you become more digitally minimalist, you choose your information sources carefully, you swap high-frequency, low-value streams for dedicated, high-value input.
And that frees up the energy for...
For higher-level functions like introspection, thinking about your values, your goals, your life's trajectory, all that stuff you need to do to realize your maximum potential.
And the social results. I think this might be the most shocking data point of all. The finding that the mere presence of mobile devices in a social setting can negatively affect the quality of face-to-face interactions.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It just shows how profoundly these devices mediate our reality, even when they're off.
Exactly. So DD forces a return to prioritizing those face-to-face interactions. When the phone is gone, people report fostering deeper, higher quality social connections. And that feeds directly into the relatedness component of SDT we talked about.
So the goal, to be clear, is a balanced engagement, not
living in a cave, no. It's about using technology as a useful tool for connection and creativity and emotional strength, rather than letting it be the master.
So what does this all mean for daily life? If we're striving for this level of personal flourishing, how do we actually implement it without feeling isolated or creating all this unnecessary rigidity? The philosophy that seems to align best with these findings is often called digital minimalism.
Right, Cal Newport's idea.
It's this commitment to dedicating your online time only to a limited number of carefully chosen activities that strongly align with your core values, and then intentionally disregarding everything else. It's like curating your digital life with ruthless efficiency.
And the strategies for this are all about setting boundaries. For you listening, the simplest, most effective hacks start small. We highly recommend using an old-fashioned alarm clock instead of your phone.
Why is that specific shift so crucial? It sounds so minor.
Because checking your phone first thing in the morning instantly exposes you to the demands of the outside world. An urgent email, a negative headline, a demanding message, it immediately sets a wired, anxious tone for the whole day.
But with an alarm clock.
You claim the first half hour of your day for yourself. You let your prefrontal cortex wake up gently before you engage with all that.
Okay, that's a good one. What else?
Create specific, non-negotiable, tech-free zones in your home. The bedroom and the dining table are the big ones. And for anyone feeling really overwhelmed, trying a structured 30-day digital declutter has been shown to have real long-term benefits.
But the challenge is real. I actually tried the alarm clock thing last week, and I think I lasted 2 days. What's the biggest barrier people face?
It's that initial discomfort combined with the risk of FOMO, the fear of missing out, because the platforms are designed to trigger that feeling. When you detach, you might get temporary symptoms that resemble withdrawal, like acute irritability, restlessness, even anxiety.
You have to push through it.
You have to push past that first 48 hours, much like breaking any other deeply ingrained habit.
That initial pain point is why I was so fascinated by the growing cultural movement around this. We're seeing the rise of digital detox retreats.
Yeah, these luxury confinement experiences.
Where guests pay a premium to have their devices confiscated and locked away. Places like Eremito in Italy, or those unplugged cabins.
It's the ultimate validation of the whole thesis, isn't it? People are so desperate for boundaries that they will outsource the enforcement and pay thousands of dollars for it.
And the pattern they see in these retreats, it perfectly mirrors the research on withdrawal.
It really does.
Analysts who studied this kind of digital-free tourism found this distinct pattern. Guests often report going stir-crazy, feeling isolated, and having this acute anxiety in the first 24 hours. They finally realize how dependent they are.
But then, after 48 hours, the shift happens. They move into acceptance, enjoyment, and this profound sense of liberation. The structured boundary facilitates that recovery and opens the door for deep introspection.
The path to EW.
The path to EW.
And the consequences can be truly life-altering. We found all these anecdotes about people quitting their jobs after a weekend retreat because that space allowed them to finally stand still and think about their lives.
And that intense, unfiltered self-reflection is the ultimate expression of eudaimonia, a life suddenly aligning with its true purpose. This is why we're seeing this movement influence policy, too.
Like the right to disconnect laws in France.
Exactly. Acknowledging that employees need protection from that constant workplace telepressure, society is slowly recognizing that connectivity needs consciousness.
So to wrap this all up,
the core takeaway from you is this. A digital detox is not a temporary fix for stress. It's a systematic, structured tool for long-term psychological flourishing. It moves us from just avoiding discomfort to actively pursuing meaning and purpose.
And customization is key.
It's always key. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but a flexible framework for intentional living.
It forces you to look at your phone and ask, am I using this tool or is this tool using me? The research clearly calls for more long-term studies to see if these effects are sustained, which is an important area for the future. But I'll leave you with that provocative question we just discussed. The one that drives people to make seismic life changes after just 48 hours of silence. If short periods of disconnection can lead to these profound insights, allowing people to stand still and really think about their purpose, what pivotal realization are you currently too connected to hear?
That's a powerful thought.
Think about it, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.